Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, good, good. Good to be here. Good to be in London. Good to see everybody.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, yeah, welcome. Thank you for your time today. We're going to learn a little bit about your story through this call. So why don't we just get started?
Yep.
So tell me about how you started. Well, introduce yourself, introduce your business,
Yeah.
and then let's get into a little bit more about those intricacies.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thanks for this opportunity. My name is Rohan Thambrahalli, and we founded DimeTyd, which is a fully automated FinOps platform for Amazon vendors globally. And my background always has been in technology, in e-commerce, but primarily focused on B2B and large enterprise customers, and really finding sort of creative solutions that are tech enabled to save these enterprise customers time, money, and deliver efficiencies in how they run their e-commerce business.
Fantastic, fantastic. And throughout your e-commerce journey or your technology journey, I suspect that you built a bunch of different products, right? What was the motivation behind building DimeTyd specifically?
Yeah, that's a great question that that we get asked often, and I think the answer is really evolved since the first time we launched a platform. We realized very early on with DimeTyd that FinOps as a function, whether you're a vendor to Amazon, whether you're a vendor to Walmart or Target or what have you, FinOps as a function within e-commerce was very manual. There is no automated way of auditing and reconciling remittances. It was also very opaque in the sense that if you had an issue or a claim that you would submit, you didn't really have line of sight into what's happening to that claim's life cycle, if you will. And we fundamentally believe that this is a problem that cannot be solved by throwing bodies at it. It was a machine problem and it really needed an intelligent platform to address all of these things. And and we went out to look to see if there's something out there already. We didn't find it, and then we just decide to build it ourselves.
Okay, so was that initial use case to apply DimeTyd to your business?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with our other businesses, we've experienced this issue with FinOps firsthand. We knew that there was profit leakage happening. We knew that there were inefficiencies within our business that were not necessarily driven due to the lack of what our people were doing, but due to the complexity and scale at which some of these e-commerce platforms operate. And we wanted a solution, and like I said, we looked for an off-the-shelf solution. There wasn't one, even though there are ERPs that we use within our businesses, but there's a wide difference between how the data is presented, for example, remittances from Amazon, and how the data is ingested, let's say in ERP, whether it's SAP or NetSuite. There needs to be massaging that needs to happen in the middle, and that was a gap that DimeTyd filled.
Okay, so what would you say are if you had to say pick top two or top three problems that DimeTyd is solving, right? What would you say those are? Just very simply.
First one is identifying profit leakages, and finding dollars that are out there to be recouped.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, I think from a operations standpoint, identifying what levers can be pulled to make your business more efficient and more profitable on an ongoing basis. And then lastly, I think is empowering the customers to look at their business from a FinOps lens and understand what levers they can pull, not just to drive more EBITDA within their business, but then also have a very intellectual discussion with a vendor manager or a buyer around why their business is operating the way it's happening and what they're doing internally to fix it and what they want someone like Amazon or Walmart to do to help them bridge those gaps.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. These are very powerful because at this point in time where we're generally seeing downward pressure on demand, right? The free cash flow, the increased profitability that your solution provides is going to be very helpful to the vendor in general. So, okay, you had this problem, you build DimeTyd, right? It's working great for your businesses. How'd you get this to the rest of the world?
Yeah, this is really kind of an interesting case study in scalability of the business. When we first launched the platform, the biggest hurdle that we needed to get over was that trust. You know, we believe 100% that we have a solution that will work for every Amazon vendor that's out there, but we also needed to convey and show them that they can trust us to give access to, let's say, for example, their vendor central, right?
Yeah.
And the way we sort of bridged that gap in trust was to find some key channel partners in specific categories, whether it's marketing agencies or Amazon agencies or other agency partners, and we empowered them to present our solution to companies that they're working with on a day-to-day basis that have established trust. And all we wanted was an opportunity for us to onboard these brands onto the platform, do an audit for them, go back, do an audit for them, and demonstrate to them that, hey, there's a lot of money, if you will, out there for us to go recoup. And that was sort of our strategy that we leveraged to scale the business in the way that we have, because it's such an instrumental thing to have the trust and the relationship that these partners have, agency partners have for us. It just, the speed to revenue and the speed to market was significantly reduced because of those strategic relationships.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and that's a pretty clever go-to-market approach. Now, as you increase your user base and whatnot, have you had to evolve the product in any way to meet needs that you didn't scope out in the initial product design, or has that progress changed over time?
We definitely have evolved the product, and we'll continue to do that. One of the things that we realized very, very quickly was that for example, cash application piece of when, let's say, Amazon sends remittances, we quickly realized that that is a very, very manual and very painful process for small organizations, medium organizations, and even Fortune 1000 organizations. So we've built a module on the platform, if you will, that automates cash application. This is such a power. It's very esoteric because it's very AR driven, but it is a very, very powerful tool that can save in some organization up to 10 to 15 hours a week, because they no longer have to apply cash manually when Amazon sends remittances. Our cash application does that for them in an automated way. We have pre-built headers on the platform for most accounting and ERP systems. So all they have to do is we agree on a sequence of how often we run cash application. We run the cash application. The customer can download a detailed reconciliation report, upload in their system, and something that would take them 5, 10, 15 hours depending on the size of the business now takes less than 15 minutes.
Okay. Okay. So in terms of deciding what the buckets to allocate the cash to, right, is that do you scope that out in conjunction with the clients upon commencement of the agreement, or are these predetermined based on the history of client transactions that you dealt with?
Yeah, it's a combination of both actually, because different customers, mainly enterprise customers, want to apply cash differently. You can have a large enterprise customers that certain dollars would need to go into certain buckets or certain departments, and we can capture the requirement from the customers as we're onboarding them, and then when we run the cash application, the cash is then sort of applied, if you will, in those GLs or those buckets.
Yep.
That are kind of relevant to the customer's specific business or departments. For example, you can take a large customer that might have multiple brands under one company, for example.
Yeah.
And they might want the cash to be applied to based on invoice and POs to a specific brand, and we have the ability to do that.
That makes a lot of sense. That's a pretty nifty application. I wish I had that years ago. Okay, sounds good. So, all right, you've launched this product, you gain customers, very exciting, right? What to you were some of your major milestones over the course of your journey?
I would say that our first major milestone really was getting unsolicited, really positive feedback from a large enterprise customer. Right? They not just love the product, they love the information, the intelligence it was providing. In addition to sort of the revenue recovery or profit recovery, the amount of time it's saving for their teams. So that was a big one. The second one was when these larger enterprise customers start to come to us and say, "Hey, this is great, but we want to now start using the platform on an ongoing basis, and we want you guys to essentially automate our entire FinOps function."
Nice.
Right? So not just revenue recovery, we're talking about FP&A, we're talking about cash application, we're talking about ASIN level profitability or product level profitability, forecasting, right? All of this thing that they might have, anywhere from 5 to 10 people doing all this stuff manually, we've automated that, right? And delivered tremendous time savings that they can now repurpose in other areas of the business. And then the third biggest one was obviously our us becoming part of the Threecolts family.
Yes.
As a big milestone that only kind of goes to show that the work that the team did in the last 24 months, from really kind of scaling the business and then having the ability to work with you, Yoda, and the rest of the team at Threecolts and us being welcome in the Threecolts family has been it's been quite amazing.
Glad to hear that. So how did that come to be? What was that story from to becoming a part of the family?
Yeah, yeah. I got reached out by Mike, Mike Dash, and we had we kind of set up a quick 30-minute sync. He wanted to learn a little bit about what we're doing and shared quite a bit about what Three Coals was doing, kind of what the vision is, and the fact that Three Coals was kind of not just sort of challenging the status quo, if you mean in its most traditional way, but I think we had a very focused strategy around what we want to do within the e-commerce ecosystem or operating system, if you will, and and how well DimeTyd fit as part of that overall strategy. And that was sort of the start of the discussion and the journey that we went down the path with Threecolts.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Well, it's been good having you as part of the family, for sure. What would you say? It's a lot of change, right? Moving from singular business to the wider Three Codes ecosystem, right? How's that transition been like for you and for your team at large?
I would say the transition has been great. I think oftentimes you get into these things where there's so many unknowns, right? There's different business partners, there's different stakeholders, but I think one thing that made it really seamless was the willingness to pivot where we needed to pivot because of the broader goals we have. I think secondly, the fact that we know what the strengths were within the DimeTyd organization, and we continue to harness that, right, without having to re-engineer a bunch of stuff. And then lastly, I think kind of the support from the leadership team, if you will, yourself, Yoda, around empowering the DimeTyd team to stay focused on the FinOps function, if you will, and provide resources and other opportunities for us to really get deeper into that space and really be the dominant player there.
Nice, nice, nice. So, can you tell us a little bit about what that work looks like, right? Because DimeTyd, I know, was very 1P focused. Now, how has that focus of you and your team expanded since coming into Three Codes?
Yeah, for Three Coals, our vision on the revenue recovery side is to be the dominant player for 1P, 3P, and other platforms, right? So we have a very focused strategy in terms of how we're going to accomplish that. We are automating a lot of stuff on the 3P side of the business. We are unifying our solutions on the 3P side of the business, and soon we want to give our customers a singular look and feel from the UI UX standpoint as well, make it very, very easy and seamless for them to use both our solutions. But then also looking at, can we look at something like a cash application and ASIN level profitability and make that available on the 3P side of the business, because I think those are very, very relevant solutions that currently don't exist in the marketplace.
True, true, true. Very, very good points. Well, I'm excited to see what comes out of that. Um, so, you've been through this process, right? Now, what would you tell other entrepreneurs who have good product, good traction within the market, and get reached out to by Threecolts? How do
Yeah.
you? What kind of counsel would you give them on what to expect?
Um, I think the first thing was really to um, have a very crystal clear strategy on growth,
Okay.
right? Um, secondly, it's about making sure that uh, making sure that they have a good understanding of where Three Coals today is and where they want to be 3 5 years, and how their business fits, not just fits in that, but can it also become the catalyst to get Three Coals to where we want to go in the next 3 to 5 years,
Yeah.
right? And I think lastly, the 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 people aspect is so important, right? I think um, I think if you're working with like-minded people, it's not only fun but also you can feed off of each other. You can leverage each other's energy, if you will, right? Um, and I'm kind of reminded of something that I always think about is there's three problems that we're all trying to solve, right? It's the time, the money, and the brain, right? The thinking problem,
Yeah.
right? And we know what the solutions are for time and the money, but the thinking problem you can only solve by collaborating. You can only solve by talking, discussing, and that becomes super easy when you're working with like-minded people, right? And I think those are kind of at least for me, were the three big things that have made this process such a delight.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, glad to hear. Hey, team, that's feedback for you. All right. So I guess we could wrap it up here. Are there any last thoughts that you want to share with the viewing audience that we didn't cover throughout this discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that when I look at Three Coast, look across all of the businesses we have. First, I think when you look at FinOps, we have an amazing strategy around enterprise customer base, right? Our product is super relevant. We've got the right people, and we'll continue to develop the product to be more relevant for our enterprise customers. So I don't see anybody else in this space that can make the impact that we can make in FinOps for enterprise customers. Secondly, the fact that we have portfolio of products that we're going to start integrating across multiple different businesses, I think is again going to put us in a position where we will have a competitive first mover advantage, because we'll be able to impact some very critical areas of our customers' business outside of FinOps. And lastly, I think our vision is clear but also evolving, right? So we are not so myopic that saying that we're not going to evolve our vision with what our customers will want, what's happening in the micro environment, what's happening in the macro environment. So I think the fact that we're open and evolving and keeping the customer first mindset is something that is going to again propel us and enable what we're trying to do across all of our businesses by delivering amazing products and services for customers, enterprise, medium, small, all of them.
Fantastic. Good stuff. Well, thank
Awesome.
you for your time, man.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.